We are going to learn the most fundamental modules in Arena in this chapter. We know that Arena is built on top of Simon simulation language. There are basic blocks and elements corresponding to Simon components. It is always possible to use Simon blocks and elements to make a simulation model. However, it is often too much details for a beginner to deal with. Simon components are in the Blocks panel and the Elements panel. They are not shown by default. If you want to see them, you need to attach these two templates by opening the blocks.tpo and elements.tpo files under the Arena template folder. Therefore, we usually use the modules or templates that are one level above Simon in Arena. These modules are organized into panels. They are easier to deal with for beginners. We are going to mainly use three modeling panels: Basic Process Panel, Advanced Process Panel, and Advanced Transfer Panel. Each panel has flowchart modules and date modules. The modules in the basic process are close to some of the most common Simon features. Flowchart modules correspond to Simon blocks. Date modules correspond to Simon elements. Modules in the advanced process panel can also find their counterparts in the Simon blocks and elements. The purpose of the simulation is often to improve the processes. Therefore, we try to model the processes as close to the real world as possible. The model allows us to examine the processes and find out where to improve. We need to make judicious use of the modules in the basic process and advanced process panels to achieve this purpose. Functions in basic process panel may be achieved with functions in the advanced process panel. This is an example comparing two implementations of the dual center system from the last chapter. We created the simulation with basic process modules. Recall that drilling center process module has three actions: cease, delay, and release. If you look at the advanced process panel, you may find out these three actions are independent modules. Therefore, we can use them to implement the same drilling center system. Although they look different, they are nearly the same at the Simon level. You may see the Simon code by selecting Run Simon View. You will see two files, .mod and .exp. If you double-click the process module, you may notice that the type is set to be standard usually. The other option is submodel. Submodel allows more complex logic. We will learn how to create submodels later. If the process is relatively simple, then use the basic process. If we want to have more detailed model, we use the advanced process panel to model a process. Let's get a good idea on how to work on a real-world problem. First, we would like to draw a flowchart on the paper to help ourselves visualize the whole procedure. On each module, we should try to determine as many input parameters as possible from the problem statement or real-world data. Then we can start to drag and drop flowchart modules into the flowchart view of Arena based on our hand-drawn flowchart. The date modules need to be defined. We need to at least define entity and resource. These dates will often be referred to by the flowchart modules. We need to decide what performance measures to collect and assess. Sometimes we need to modify the model again in order to get some desired results. Animation is not only for cosmetic purpose. It is often very useful for debugging, finding your logic mistakes. In the end, we need to run the model. If there's anything, we need to find out what is wrong. If it runs with results, we need to carefully read output and try to interpret it and see if it makes sense. We are going to work on a real-world problem step by step. We start with a simple implementation and then keep adding new stuff to the model to make it more realistic. After discussing the model, we'll talk about how to use the input analyzer to determine the input parameters, such as the distribution.